All right, welcome back to another Nerdthusiast Poker Podcast. I'm Hoagie and also here with Brian, not the man Keen.
Yep.
What's up, man?
Chilling, bro. Chilling. Looking forward to this movie review. Just came out this past week. Anthony and I had the pleasure of watching remotely from one another Dead Money. We both rented it on Amazon Prime. It was about $5, $6, something like that for a 48-hour rental. And I'm not going to lie, I was pleasantly surprised by the movie and kind of the plot line. It wasn't as corny as previous reviews that we've done. But I was wondering, I couldn't see it in theaters anywhere. I didn't see anywhere that was actually holding it. Was it direct release to streaming only, or like, do you know?
So, yeah, it was, from what I could tell, it was like super, super limited release. Like a couple random places were showing. I was kind of upset because, I'm a movie guy. I love going to the movie theater. So even if I had to travel a little bit, I would have went and, saw this in the theater.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, everywhere as I looked, it was only going to be directly, on demand kind of thing right away, which kind of sucks because, being able to, that's one of the things I wanted to do. And like originally when we talked about a month or two ago when this first came on our radar, my whole thought was like, dude, let's go see the movie in the theater and then we'll like do a direct review about it. But, when it on stream, it did work it worked out okay because I was coming back from my trip to Italy, which was a really good time. But
yeah, I saw some of your pictures.
The flight's like 10 hours long. So I was like, all right, I need to download some movies. So this was one of the movies I downloaded. So I was like, all right, this is perfect. Can watch this on the flight home. And got my energy drink, had my little snack, and, set up. And same. I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, we'll dig into it, but I'll tell you what. This was the movie that Poker Face last year, or whatever it was, 2 years ago now almost, came out. This is the movie that should have been, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, that like whole like heist, plot. Like, this movie was a poker movie, whereas like Poker Face was like a movie that had one poker scene in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. So let's just get to a little bit about the background of the movie. So the main character in this movie is Emile Hirsch, and if you don't know who Emile Hirsch is, he's not a well-known actor, but from what I would consider like my probably early 20s, mid 20s. He was in the movie The Girl Next Door with that smoke blonde. We talked about this before. I can't remember her name. Hold on, let me see. You've definitely seen this movie. It's like kind of like a comedy type coming of age thing. He's like a young kid. This girl moves in next to his house and she's a smoke. And basically he like falls for her. Turns out she's like an escort. I don't know. It's a good movie, but he's real young in that. And then
Alicia Cuthbert is her name.
Alicia Cuthbert. Yeah, she was the craze back in the day. They came out in 2004. So yeah, we were like sophomores or juniors in college, I think. And then fast forward, a couple years later, and he was an Alpha Dog, which is like a very underrated movie. Was like one of Justin Timberlake's first, first acting roles, I think, pretty sure, other than like what he did when he was a kid, but like as like a singer. And that was based off of a true story from what I understand. So those are the two movies that I know him from. What others have you seen that he was in?
So I'll say this too. Emile Hirsch is definitely an underdog actor, man. Like, for real. Like, the movies that I've seen him in, he always plays a solid role. So again, I've seen him in those movies as well. But the one I'll definitely recommend to you, if because I know you like to read books and stuff, Into the Wild is something right up your alley. It's based on a true story. There's a book. The movie's pretty close to the book for the most part. And I won't give it away too much, but it's pretty much a guy that goes into Alaska. He wants to kind of live in nature, and it's the story of what happens along the way. That's a good book and a good movie. And then one movie that's like super underrated again, and I think just at the time it just didn't click. Speed Racer's not a bad movie, bro. Like, if you get a chance,
the main character in that?
Yeah, like he's like one of the top ones in that too. Like,
oh, really?
Dude, Yeah, he is Speed Racer in the
Oh
movie.
wow, yeah, I've never seen that. I've never seen that.
Bro, I'm like, if you want something to watch with your kids, like Speed Racer's a solid flick to check
I have
out.
to check that out. When did that come out? 2008.
2008.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so he was still kind of a little like in his younger years. Okay, going through this list, I lied. I did see Lone Survivor. I actually do remember him being like a secondary character in that. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he was with um Wahlberg like when they were deep in the shit, and he was one of the people that wound up getting killed. One of the people part of that mission. Um, but he's obviously a secondary character. Really great movie, Lone Survivor, if you haven't seen it. It's also based off of true events. I don't necessarily know if it was like a true reenactment of what took place, but it's pretty damn close from what I understand. Um, so Dead Money. So this came out just about a week and a half ago, maybe a week ago. So it got an IMDb rating of 7.2 out of 10. I actually think that it's probably right on par with what I would anticipate, and it's great because it opens up first thing what in a, in like a house game, right? And
Yeah.
you can tell right from the start that he is probably a degen, but he seems to know kind of like what he's talking about. Goes into a lot of GTO talk right in the beginning. But right off the bat, you kind of get this vibe of like, all right, this dude, he's just a grinder. He's like your typical, I don't work for a living, I just play cards. And within probably a half hour, you find that out like in short order. So obviously there's going to be some spoilers as we go through this thing, but it seems to be like a fairly deep game, high stakes
Yeah.
to some degree, higher than most.
That first game was 25-50, they said.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. Yeah, so he's playing high, like mid stakes cash. For me, it would be fucking nosebleeds because I would never get up there. But it's like a house game. Looks like local grinders playing in this game. It seemed they all kind of know each other. And then things kind of take a spin when the game gets robbed, right? So these dudes come in and pretty much just fucking start roughing people up, take all the money on the table, take all the money out of all the people's pockets, all their bags, take pretty much leave everyone high and dry, make them strip down, and that's kind of how the story all starts to unfold. Some comedy in it. I felt like, and that was one of the one things we'll talk about, like the pros and cons is like the comedy in it kind of took away from a little bit of the action and I guess seriousness of like what it was supposed to be. Like I don't know if it was supposed to be a drama or what, but it kind of like lightened the mood, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But overall, I think there was no other really big name actors. I don't know if you recognize anybody in there or.
So one actor that's in there, which I didn't realize till I was doing my research. I'm like, oh crap, that was him. One of the robbers is Rory Culkin, which is Macaulay Culkin's brother.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So he's been in a bunch of like big films. And then Peter Facinelli, who plays the cop, he's been in a bunch of stuff. So a lot of like B-rated actors in this film. But I thought like for the most part, a lot of them played a pretty solid role and like played their role to what needed to be.
Yeah. So, without kind of ruining too much, like there's kind of opportunities for this dude to kind of degen it up. There's a couple like side bets which kind of add to the comedy of it. But needless to say, he winds up coming into a significant amount of money as a result of this hijacking, I guess you could say. And then he then makes the decision after he lies to his chick, like I'm done playing, to just spin it up. And he goes on what he would, he even says it's like a run of a lifetime, where he goes to a couple games, he's turning, sands in the gold, if you will, and he winds up getting into a big game, a real big game. What's it like 200, 400, right?
Yeah.
And it's obviously the local gangster, like that he's like the card shark, or not the card shark, like the bookie. Like he's just the dude that I guess you could say he's kind of like the Rounders version of
not
Kanish, the other guy,
Teddy KGB.
Yeah, KGB. Sorry. So there is a lot of like relations in that sense, where there's like I feel like I don't think they were trying to make a Rounders 2, but it was definitely like sort of synonymous with the way that they were trying to approach things. But anyway, so he's at this game, and there's I don't want to ruin it because there's just so much, but sticking with the game at the end, not towards the end, but that was a big part of like the last 45 minutes of it. A lot of poker, and that's what I enjoyed the most. Is there is a lot of poker in the movie, and you just see the dude just shipping pots and just cutting this table up, and then things kind of start to turn for the worse, and he's kind of put into this predicament where, what normally was just always just trying to spin it up. Now he's in a position where he's got to really run like God, or it's like a life or death situation. But like I said, overall, I thought it was really good. If it weren't for those like little parts of like comedic relief, I would have really liked it. I just felt like that was a little bit, I don't want to say corny, but it was just like, it just took away from what I thought was the seriousness of the plot line, right?
Peter Facinelli as the cop, like his stuff was just like way over the top.
Yeah, that a little bit, and I think a little bit with the like with what you would consider like the henchmen, like the bad guys. Like I felt like they tried to make them seem like softer than what they were, like dummies. You know what I mean? Like kind of not like Home Alone dummies, but like kind of like that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the ending was good. Kind of left it open ended with the whole, what happens during the game. I don't know. Like I hate giving movie reviews for something that's new because I don't want to ruin it for the people out there. But what did you think of a lot of what I'm saying?
So, okay. I think here's the thing, I'm trying to think of it as a poker player and then thinking outside the box as a non-poker player. As a poker player, for the poker community, I would definitely recommend this movie. I think you're going to enjoy it. Like you said, whoever he hired, and I don't know behind the scenes, he obviously had people on set that really, or at least went through everything, because everything was pretty much spot on. Like, right? Yeah. No, like over the top cheesy, like, I'll raise you table stakes and I'll pull out, like everything was like spot on poker. Like the cheesy stuff we've talked about in the past, everything was spot on. Like, the plays, what he was talking about, the discussions, explaining poker, like the way he handled the cards and the chips and everything spot on. So on that aspect of like authentic nature of poker, it was excellent. But I think the problem though with this movie is that it's only going to be relatable to poker players directly.
Yeah,
and that's obviously the market.
Yeah, we say that all the time. Yep.
So that's the market it's going to, which is great for our community. But sitting outside the box, like a couple of the scenes, like for example, the scene where the poker pro is obviously cheating. I don't want to give away too much, but he's obviously cheating. I won't explain how. But when he explains that hand, how it's like basically like a reverse tell, and it's like the way he bet versus that, like anyone outside the poker world will not understand that situation of like, wait, what? Why did he know he was bluffing? I don't get, like, I was trying to think of that. I'm like, that will make no sense to anyone that doesn't understand poker world. Like poker people, boom, we got it right away. Anyone else is going to look at them and be like, what the hell just happened? I have no clue. So I think I hate to say it, I think it's too authentic for like a general public enjoyment. Unfortunately, it's a great poker piece though.
Because if you don't know, and you're right, because I did pick up on that where, like, obviously the automatic card shuffler, like if you're not someone who plays at a table where there's an automatic card shuffler, you're not going to notice that. And you're going to kind of skip over that part in the movie where it actually plays like a big part in like the overall outcome. And if you're just watching it, like, casually, you're flipping through your phone, like, yes, you're absolutely right. Someone's going to miss that end of things because it's like, wait, how is he cheating? Like, I don't understand. Like, isn't she shuffling? And then, like, unless you're someone who knows, you're like, well, no, he's done something with the card reader or whatever. You know what I mean? Or, the card shuffler. So yeah, we're just giving spoilers away. Fuck it. We're just gonna go in. And just give
Fudge. Yeah.
Spoiler
alert. Spoiler alert.
No, I mean you can't really talk about this movie without giving spoilers up. I thought that was definitely the sickest part of the movie, how he recognized that part, and he's like, he just tells him like, you know what, dude, you're full of fucking bullshit, and he just snaps him off, and the dude looks like he's gonna fucking lose his lunch all over the table, and I was like, yeah, score one for the good guys.
But so like, see again, I liked it because it was like an original scene. Like every other like major poker movie, it comes down to the one guy has the full house and the next guy has the quads, and that's how
Like
it ends.
Maverick,
Right?
yeah, like Maverick.
Yeah, right. Like
I got
that's
2 pairs.
So like calling off the bluff with like a 10 high is like, oh snap, like that.
Yep.
Very original idea in it, and so that I thought that was great as well. But again, hard for people maybe outside the poker culture to understand. The other thing I think that was kind of cool is that a lot of these games exist. I mean, we hear about these poker pros. I haven't been invited to any of them, but
Yeah.
I hear about these poker pros that are playing in these like nosebleed house games, and they're just basically playing against football players, and they're playing against Wall Street guys. Like those games actually exist, but I don't think I'm ever going to get an invite to any of them.
No,
But
I don't even know if you'd ever even want to go to one of those games. Really, just, I mean,
well,
200, 100K buy-in minimum, like, I'll never be.
I was thinking about it too, like when I was kind of like trying to think about what I was going to talk about or discuss, and I was thinking about the robbery stuff. Now, I know that me and you have never been to a game that's been robbed, but a couple things. One, we don't play a lot of home games, first off, but I do know people that have been to games that have been robbed, and it's like, I wouldn't even want to risk that situation in, when we have so many casinos around us that have regulations and monitoring and security guards. Like, why would you want to go put 10,000 on like some dude's basement when you could play at a casino with probably just as bad players and not have all that risk,
I think that's what it comes down to. I think a lot of these home games, they're exclusive, and I think that's just it. It has a lot of dead money, no pun intended. And basically that's why people are going, like people go and play them. You know what I mean? Especially, the games where people are far from a casino, if that makes sense. Like we have the luxury of being so close, 45 minutes in one direction, 15 minutes in one direction, whatever, where there's some people who are just, they loved the game, and it takes a long, it could be an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour drive to get to a casino or like a regulated joint. But even some of those like clubs, like, I mean, look, even some of those poker clubs and those backdoor clubs that like are legit, even those games have gotten robbed and gotten taken, or they've been up to shady dealings and like the feds come in and just bust them. You know what I mean? So there's always that risk.
Doyle's had like a famous quote in his autobiography, and he just talked about like these underground games that he was playing in, and he talked about these like, the hard thing about those games were not only did you just have to win, but you actually had to get out of there with the money. Like that was the other thing. You had to worry about getting robbed or stuck up or cheated. Like there was not just winning, you had all these other elements you had to deal with just to get out of these underground games, with the cash in your pocket.
Yep. So I think that was the, I did have a list of turnoffs. So the other turnoff that I had was, so he comes up with all this money, right? And his chick is like, what's the deal? Like, what's your deal? Like, what's up with you? And he's like, oh, look in the bag or whatever. Like, her reaction is not what you would anticipate someone who just came into possession of, probably 200 grand. Not to mention, she goes home and is like, oh, I got finals, babe. I got to go to, I got to go to school. And the dude's like laying in bed like, I got 200K in your backpack. Like, that's like, I felt like she was, I think the worst choice of people to have, but I think it was more her character, not so much the actress. Like, I think that they could have made her a little bit more, like, I don't know, genuine. You know what I mean? Like, she wouldn't be like, oh my God, great. Like, I'm going to go to class. It would be like, I don't know. I feel like that was just like the way to get her away from him, and then kind of got her caught up in
Yeah,
whatever she got caught up in, But
yeah, I mean, they had to write that, and I that was one thing that I did like though was that there was like two things happening on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Like this dude is running like complete god over here, and then over
yeah,
here she's being tied up and beat at the same time. So I did like that flow of like story dynamic. I thought that was very cool the way they did that. Like, and for anyone at home that maybe is just listening and they're not really hardcore in the poker, but you kind of play a little bit, that rush, and when you're on that rush and you're on that high of like everything's hitting, it's true though, but because like, it's about being in the zone, and he demonstrates that so well, where you can just see everything that's happening. And I've been in that zone many times, and it's just like the greatest feeling, like what everyone's doing. And they talk about like sports players, and I've read about NBA, like Kobe and stuff, like how he would like get his mind into the zone. But once you're there, I think Emile did a really good job of like explaining, like he could just see everything before it was happening. And I think that was a pretty cool dynamic that he put into the film, because that's a real thing that happens in the poker world.
I think it would have been cool if they had. I mean, maybe I don't know. I guess I'd have to have seen it. Like instead of having like somebody that was just random playing in the big game, like it would have been cool to see like someone who was a big name poker player actually be like that other antagonist. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that was one
but
that was one thing that was different than a lot of poker movies too. Like there wasn't like pros in the movie all over like scattered throughout the film either.
no, no. And I think they had opportunities too, especially like when they had when he went to the golf game, and then even at the end, maybe not make that guy the antagonist, maybe just throw him in as an extra. But like I feel like that would have gotten a lot more attention from just the poker community. But I think a lot of people are gonna watch it anyway, just because they're gonna realize it has poker undertones, and like you know what, I'll check it out, why not? Once it comes out,
So
like maybe like free stream, maybe not so much rent it, but
as the opposite of that was kind of funny, because I was looking up too, is they didn't really have like poker players in the film, but they did have, like, when they showed that like rapper, he was supposed to be a sports player or whatever that deal was. I think he was supposed to be a sports player. He's actually a musician. Young Blue is his name.
oh, okay,
Yeah, so they had someone kind of legit into that kind of like element
yeah,
as well. A couple things I looked in. I actually watched Emile talk about the movie a little bit. So he was talking that he actually got from one of the producers, and he didn't say who, but one of the producers on the film gave him $100,000 cash to go play in Vegas in
mm-hmm.
like a high stakes nosebleed game, which I'm assuming was probably at Bobby's Room, or one of those.
Yeah, had to be
And
someone that
Emile
takes
Hirsch said that he blew it all in the first night playing. I was like, holy crap! And since then, I mean, he must have had some lessons, because he was probably preparing for the film. I was just also seeing that, and I didn't get a chance to watch this, but he was on Hustler Casino Live this past week, I guess, promoting the film. But he played in the high stakes game,
oh, and
the
their streaming game,
$5,100
yeah,
live game with Mariano and a couple other like name brand vloggers on the Hustler Casino Live. So that's on YouTube. So if you guys want to check that out, he was on there this past week. So he does know how to play. I mean, I don't know if he's good, probably not,
he's
but
probably the gen now. I mean, if he had to do all this preparation to play, he's probably just like, he's probably sucked into the game. Guarantee we're gonna see this dude at the series next year, fucking playing like a $500 buy-in event. Like, what up? And he'll probably ship, and we'll just be like, fuck.
oh man, yeah, that's the way it works. Well, a funny thing too was, so when Rounders originally came out, Matt Damon and Ed Norton actually went to the World Series. They played in the main event that year to promote the film. So they were
Oh
actually
yeah,
playing in the series that year, promoting it. There's old footage, you can probably find it online, and it shows them now. Ed Norton, I think he told about a bad beat. Like the dude lost like quads over quads or something in the main event, like legit. Yeah,
wait,
like
I
something
feel like I
crazy.
remember reading this.
Yeah. So he talks about it. He's like, dude, I played really well. I lost quads to quads. People were like, what? He's like, yeah, true story. He's like, I literally busted the main event like quads over quads. It was some crazy ass hand, something like of bad beat structure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, it would be cool if he kind of, the more celebrities in poker, the better. Obviously, but he, I mean, he knew what he was doing. I mean, he obviously just understood the lingo and explained it well. I thought the beginning was very reminiscent of like the whole rounders thing when he's explaining about like poker's math and he's explaining all that. That felt like very rounders ish.
Yeah. I mean, like I said from the start, I think based off of all the movies that we've done over the past couple of years and the movies that we've actually sat down and watched, I would definitely rank this up there with like, the top 5 poker movies in the sense of like hitting on poker itself. I mean, it's not the best movie that has poker undertones. I mean, obviously, like one of my favorites is we talked about before is like Maverick or even like The Game, like that. Always like that. But I mean, I think yours is Mississippi Grind, right?
This is the best poker movie I've seen since Mississippi Grind, 100%.
Yeah.
My top 3. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I still haven't seen that, and I said The Game. I'm sorry, I meant The Grand.
Wait, you never seen Mississippi Grind?
No, I haven't.
What? No. Oh, dude, we are reviewing that. I mean, listen, I know it's way old now. Dude, Mississippi Grind is so good. Oh my god, it's my number 3. It's Rounders.
Yeah, I gotta check it out.
Cincinnati Kid, Mississippi Grind. They're my top 3, man. Dude, Ryan Reynolds. Dude, oh my god, how have you not seen this? Dude, how did I not know that?
Because you know how long it takes me to watch a movie? Like I
know
the traditional movie. Like I'll put on a movie and I'll watch fucking Terminator 2 like 15 times. Like I'm so stuck in the 90s that I can't get out. Like,
dude, listen, you're not, dude. You cannot watch another movie until you watch Mississippi Grind. I'm telling you.
All right, I'll put it on my list.
Like might be,
I gotta
dude.
Find it.
The dude that play, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but as soon as you'll see him, he's in Star Wars. He's in like everything. He's such a good actor, and I can't think. It's Ben something. I can't think of it. Anyway, he plays besides Worm. He is the best degenerate poker player. He's probably like even. I'll be honest. What's that?
He's like a total heel,
bro. He plays a degenerate. Like he might actually be more of a degenerate than Worm is. Like Worm is a degenerate, but he's a movie degenerate. This dude in Mississippi Grind is like legit. You're like, holy crap! Like, dude, I know this dude. Like, he's at the Borgata playing fucking 2-4 right now. Like, I know this dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, anyway, listen, I won't go too much into it. Well, let's do that in the future. We'll do Mississippi Grind in the future. A review on that. But this is definitely the best poker movie I've seen since Mississippi Grind. 100%.
Yeah, it's good. Before we close off, I felt the prop bets. We kind of discussed them already. The first prop bet, dude, was hysterical. I was like, "There's no." When they set him up, he's like, "Yeah, he was just short of Golden Gloves," and he's like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "You'll be all right." And he's like, "Oh shit." Good shit, though. Definitely, if you guys are listening, hopefully it didn't spoil too much for you. Definitely check it out. Like I said, it's on Amazon Prime right now, about $6.99 for, I think it's about $6.99, something like that, for a 48-hour rental. Or you can just wait a couple weeks till it comes out direct to stream. Emile Hirsch does a great job. Definitely would recommend. It's not one of those ones that we're saying it sucks, which is kind of consistent with what we've done in the past with a lot of these movies. But this is actually a good one. Check it out.
Yeah, definitely would recommend. Like I said, poker movie. I don't know if you'll be able to get your girlfriend to watch it, or your other significant other, but if you're looking for a guy movie one night just to chill and like kill 2 hours and enjoy, you'll enjoy it. Would recommend for the poker community. Yeah, I mean, I think it was overall a pretty decent film and entertained me the whole time. So,
yeah.
That's it for this month's podcast. We got a big guest coming on in the future, which will be announced soon. Make sure you're following. Make sure you're following all the Nerdthusiast channels, including our YouTube. We got a movie guy on there that does just movies. We got video games. We got music, all kinds of fun stuff. So that's on Nerdthusiast YouTube, or you can check out our blog, nerdthusiast.com. So thanks, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.